This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
The WHO warns of a drawn-out pandemic as South African cases top 500,000. DR Congo records a significant drop in measles cases as a nationwide vaccination campaign continues. And TikTok is under threat in America after US President Trump says he's going to ban the app, but TikTok says it's there to stay. Hello and welcome to Africa Live on CGTN with me, Beatrice Mrashall, in Nairobi. Also coming up on the program. In sports, Tanzanian football club Young Africans sacked a Belgian coach over alleged racist comments. We begin in Cameroon, where at least 18 people have died in a grenade attack that's being linked to the Islamist Boko Haram terror group. Women and children were among the dead. The attack took place in a village in the far north in the Mayo-Moskota region near the Nigerian border, which is a Boko Haram stronghold. There are fears the death toll could rise. Officials say the area has seen over 20 incursions and attacks over the past month by suspected Islamist militants. Over the past decade, violence from Boko Haram's push for an Islamic caliphate based in Nigeria has spilled over to neighboring countries like Cameroon and Chad. South Africa now, where the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has passed the 500,000 mark. According to the country's health ministry, the nation has recorded over 10,100 new infections, pushing the total tally of cases to over 503,200. The number of fatalities stands at over 8,150. The ministry also says it has managed to test over 3 million people. South Africa imposed a nationwide lockdown at the end of March to help curb the spread of the virus, but it has now eased many restrictions to boost economic activity. Just like other countries across the continent, a large chunk of whose populations are poor and face hunger. As restrictions have eased, infections have spiked over the last 2 months. Ugandan authorities are concerned that flouting of health guidelines by the transport sector operators could lead to an increase in COVID-19 cases. The government last month allowed motorbike taxis to resume operations. Riders have, however, been asked to follow strict measures to curb the spread of COVID-19, including keeping records of all passengers they transport. Leon Senyange reports.
As Uganda eases its COVID-19 lockdown restrictions, the country's transport sector remains under tight supervision. Motorbike taxis, also known as border borders, must follow strict measures to curb the spread of COVID-19. Each rider is required to wear a mask and carry a temperature gun. The government is concerned that many operators are flaunting the regulations.
There's been a lot of abuse, unfortunately, that people are not wearing face masks. The border operators themselves are not putting on face masks, and even the passengers are not putting on face masks. Now, this may result like what we saw with the trans-cargo drivers. At one time, they became the source of infection. Now, if the border industry also moves unguardedly in that direction, then it will soon become the source of infection. And so we should not be shocked if we are to go back in a lockdown.
Riders must also keep a register of all passengers they carry and their telephone contacts.
I've asked my passengers for their documents because it's what is required of us to do now. Many just go away and you cannot insist on taking them.
Not all motorbike taxi users have warmed up to registering every time they are to take a ride. They say writing their details with every rider is giving away too much about themselves. They are worried that could put them in harm's way.
We definitely have to worry. These national ID numbers or our telephone numbers can be used to track you on anything. We have to be concerned.
Motorbike taxis are an easy mode of transport to get around, with some passengers comfortable to once again use the motorbike taxis during this pandemic. The riders are keen to remain on the road.
If I have my helmet and my mask, and the passenger too has their face shield, some passengers carry sanitizers. They even spray the money they give us.
The government is tightly regulating the operations of motorbike taxis. The establishment of free zone areas for riders to operate is likely to keep Muwereza and 1,000 others out of the central business district. Leon Sanyanga, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
Health officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo say a measles epidemic that claimed more than 6,000 lives last year has declined significantly across the country. The drop in cases has been recorded between May and July, despite the COVID-19 pandemic disrupting vaccination activities. CGTN's Chris Ochamringa has more from Kinshasa.
A measles vaccination campaign was rolled out in the DRC in April this year amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The government decided to continue with its vaccination program to tackle the disease that claimed more than 6,000 people last year. Most of those immunized were children under 5. Health experts have now recorded a huge drop in measles cases.
As of now, the trend of the measles outbreak has totally declined. A few months ago, we were reporting per week between 5,500 cases and 8,000 cases per week. But 2 weeks ago, we reported just 500 cases in the country. So as of now, the trend has considerably decreased in the country. There just have few pockets where we still having a situation and where we are continuing intervention.
Last year, the World Health Organization described the measles outbreak in the DRC as the largest and fastest moving in the world. The announcement of the COVID-19 pandemic in March led health experts to believe the situation could get worse. The pandemic did disrupt the delivery of vaccines and kept some parents away from health centers over fears that their children would get infected.
At the moment, we're still offering health services to tackle the measles epidemic. We have laid down plans for routine activities, but the population has been reluctant to come and get vaccinated against measles. Fortunately, the number of cases has reduced.
While the DRC has seen a reduction in measles cases, the WHO and other international experts have urged its leaders to intensify immunization activities throughout the country to reach more children. Measles is a contagious viral disease that is among the leading causes of childhood deaths. In 2018, the DRC government launched an emergency immunization program known as the Mrashall Plan to address the low measles vaccination coverage across the country. The program was disrupted by ongoing conflict in the east of the country and more recently by the coronavirus. But thousands of children vaccinated in other parts of the country have helped bring down the number of cases. Chris Ochamringa, CGTN, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
You're watching Africa Live. Still ahead on the program. Nigeria's central bank issues a $41.2 million to support maize farmers. And Kenya's entertainment sector reels from bar's closure order.
My family has been doing this artwork for the past 600 years.
My dream is to be a leading player in Africa in spice sector.
Nobody in the region consumes it. Even me cannot afford the vanilla cooking.
What we've created here is the elegance, the color, the celebration of life.
Nigeria's central bank has issued a $41.2 million credit facility to maize farmers in the country. This comes after the bank placed a ban on maize importation in order to boost local production. CGTN's Kelechi Emekalam has the details.
Another planting season for maize farmer Abubakar Sabitu. He has spent the past 2 decades cultivating maize, a staple food widely consumed in Nigeria. But lots of farmers like himself haven't enjoyed favorable yields and sales. Besides contending with imports, financing has been a major challenge. Now the Apex Bank's ban on maize importation and its $41.2 million credit facility to maize farmers would help boost production.
The challenges I face every farming season is access to fertilizer, because each year we farm, we have a budget for fertilizer. But most years, there is always a hike in the price, and it affects our calculation due to the price differences. This makes us to always seek financial help, and in some cases, the fertilizer is not readily available.
If part of this money will be used to acquire tractors and some machines, that will make our work easier and encourage us to do more, and will go a long way. If I was farming 1 hectare and I now have these inputs available, I can farm up to 10 hectares.
According to Nigeria's Bureau of Statistics, maize seed import alone was over $4.6 million in the first quarter of 2019. And that's excluding other byproducts from maize running into millions of dollars. The Apex Bank hopes to stimulate economic recovery, safeguard rural livelihoods, and increase job opportunities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's the right step in the right direction. And don't forget, it's only for this season. You also go to have dry season farmers. There are also high exportable ones that we're already exporting, like sesame seed, shea butter, ginger. Those we are not even mentioned, but we are exporting those. So they require equal attention. So these ones are where Nigeria has significant comparative advantage compared to other African countries. And so we need to put resources behind those.
About 40,000 maize farmers will access the credit facility. Among other interventions, the funds would go into agro inputs like fertilizers, seeds, and agrochemicals. The farmers are expected to double their output this year, as well as provide 1.5 million metric tons of maize for animal feed. Kelechi Emekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
TikTok says it is not planning on going anywhere after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to ban the video sharing app. Donald Trump says there are what he calls raging concerns about TikTok's threat to sovereignty and national security. But the company insists it is in the U.S. for the long run. CGTN's Yu Yang has the story.
TikTok's popularity is based on videos like this. This. And this. Its parent company, ByteDance, says it aims to show the world's creativity, knowledge, and precious life moments. But now, those precious life moments look like this.
I'm gonna miss you.
The change stems from the displeasure of Donald Trump.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options, but a lot of things are happening. So we'll see what happens. But we are looking at a lot of alternatives with respect to TikTok.
The U.S. president says the app could be a threat to national security. His administration says the app's Chinese developer, ByteDance, could steal U.S. users' personal data.
Only if you want your private information in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party.
But U.S. netizens seem to disagree. They've launched a hashtag called #SaveTikTok, which got nearly 700 million views. And TikTok itself said it was not planning on going anywhere. It also points out that the CEO is American and its databases are in Singapore and the US. Trump's announcement sparked a set of search for a white knight. US media outlets report that several companies are in talks with the ByteDance to buy TikTok, including Microsoft. The platform entered the US in 2018 and has over 175 million downloads, ranking the first in the Apple Store in the entertainment category. About 80 million users are sharing their videos every month. These include some US stars. Millions are waiting to see where TikTok is headed when the world's most powerful government labels it a national threat. Youyang, CGTN.
Kenyans are spending the first weekend since President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered the indefinite closure of bars nationwide. This came amid concerns that entertainment joints and lounges have been flouting COVID-19 restrictions. On most weekends, especially during the end of the month, Kenyans throng bars to enjoy. The government's latest directive has not gone down well with those who love their bottle. CGTN's Daniel Arapmoy reports.
On any given weekend, Nairobi city centre teems with life as happy people spill out of shopping malls and offices straight into bars. But the chatter and laughter that normally fills the bars and streets in this East African capital is no more. The surge in coronavirus cases led the government to reimpose restrictions on bars and entertainment joints. That came after authorities had earlier eased restrictions in an attempt to revive the economy. To many, the prevailing restrictions cannot curb the spread of the virus.
I think the government needs to put proper guidelines on how to prevent the COVID-19, because we've come to realize that the COVID-19 is here to stay. So the government needs to sensitize the public on how to live with the virus, because the country cannot remain locked forever.
Nairobi city centre amid the curfew seems a haunting contrast to its past, with the stillness and quiet a world away from the sounds of music associated with its past nightlife.
African city centers are normally jam-packed with people, but a new reality seems to have taken over as African countries marshal plans to rid the continent of COVID-19.
Business was really promising, and over the years we've had nothing but just good returns out of the business. Yes, but as you are aware, as we all know, that the pandemic has really hit us really hard.
We hope the government will be able to allow us to go back to work, especially like the clubs. We really need to go to work because we depend on our work for our food. It's hand to mouth.
On Saturday, the East African country recorded 23 COVID-19 related deaths with 727 new infections. The death toll rose to 364 by Saturday, as the tally of those infected hit over 21,300. The government says the move was necessary because people linger, drink, and often have to shout or get closer to each other over blaring music. The East African city is likely to continue missing the usual hordes of beer lovers as COVID-19 strike hard. Daniel Arapmoy, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
You're watching Africa Live. Coming up in your sports news. Tanzanian football club Young Africans sacks Belgian coach Luc Eymael over racist comments.
You don't find the stories of North Africa by sitting on the sidelines. You've got to get out, go there, and you'll find them. In the bazaars of Casablanca, among the crowds in Cairo,
who come to visit Cairo, the ancient capital of Egypt.
Along the waters of the Nile, along the sands of the Sahara. No one else will take you where we can in North Africa. No one else will show you what it's all about. CGTN, see the difference.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Tanzanian football club Young Africans has sacked Belgian coach Luc Eymael after he allegedly made racist and derogatory comments about the country's fans. Eymael was recorded comparing fans to dogs and monkeys following a 1-all draw last Wednesday. The Tanzanian Football Federation has said it will now take action over the incident, including reporting the former coach to FIFA. CGTN's Daniel Kijo has more.
And favorizing Simba and not giving...
Luc Eymael was speaking to the media after a contentious game when he made the comments.
It's like monkeys, you know, monkeys who are making, or dogs who are backing, you know, blah, 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 blah. They only can...
Comparing the fans in the stadium to dogs and monkeys. He said they were ignorant about football and that he hated Tanzania. The language has shocked the sports world, which has long struggled to remove racism from the game. He was fired immediately. George Job, a sports analyst with Wasafi Media, says racism creates division and hatred.
A lot
of places will ban him for this. Football is a sport that unites a lot of people, and the one thing that everyone tries to discourage is racism. So the example he used to describe the fans was racist in nature, and it created this huge uproar. So much that it overshadowed other parts of what he said, which were true.
Eymael had not issued a response to the allegations and has since returned to Belgium. Before coming to Tanzania to coach the Young Africans, known as Yanga, Eymael had worked in South Africa, Egypt, Algeria, and Tunisia. Analysts say he was known to have a history of making controversial remarks.
We started to hear many things. Rwanda suspended him for 2 years because of some issues with fights. South Africa also doesn't want him. They took him to the FAA. With Tanzania, the same thing. In fact, TFF has taken further actions like escalating the matter to FIFA. So this looks like something that might kill his coaching career.
The Southern African Football Association is also trying to permanently ban Eymael from working in the country. Fans say things need to change.
The problem is they are in a rush, end up going for foreign coaches. Some of these guys don't have discipline because they destroy the reputation of the club, the fans. When they bring in foreign coaches, they should inspect his CV, where he comes from, and the history.
There are many coaches. The management should take time to select the right fit for Yanga. We will get one. Many coaches have come and gone. We need a coach that will leave us well.
Yanga's assistant coach, Charles Boniface Mkwasa, has also requested a break for an unknown period. He has not revealed why he needed the time off, leaving Yanga without a coaching bench. Tanzania's Football Federation is expected to announce the date for the start of the new league. Yanga's management is looking to use this time to rebuild a technical bench that can take them to the top of the league. But with a 20-team league dropping to 18 teams, competition is expected to increase, making the road to the cup even harder. Daniel Kijo, CGTN, Dar es Salaam.
In Cote d'Ivoire, former Chelsea striker Didier Drogba has submitted his candidacy to become president of the